Hello everybody, welcome to the shop. I've got a really exciting project tonight and I want to tell you about it. What you see sitting on my workbench is a sled hockey sled. Now up until about 2 months ago, I had never even heard of sled hockey. Sled hockey is for people that only have partial or no use of their lower extremities. Regular ice hockey rules apply to sled hockey. Yeah, they check each other in a metal sled. Hard. This belongs to a friend of mine's son, and he started playing, and there's a couple things they've asked me to do. The way this works, how they propel themselves, are with these hockey sticks. And what they normally have is a metal spike here on the end of each stick. They propel themselves along the ice this way. What we're missing are the metal spikes. Now by the rules, they have to be pretty specific. He's drawn me a picture of exactly what he wants built and the exact size. Project number 2, see these right here? These are the blades. They're just like regular ice hockey blades, except there's 2 of them and they're spaced apart. Now think like training wheels on a bicycle. When somebody begins to learn to ride a sled hockey sled, they need a little help. So they space these blades out wide. The narrower the blades are, the faster they can turn, and I guess the faster they can accelerate too. This is an earlier set of spacers. You can see that these would have pushed the blades out a little wider. Now these blades have been narrowed twice already. They're fixing to be narrowed a 3rd time. And that's going to be our task. We're going to take this old set of spacers, we're going to cut them in half and allow them to shorten this even more. It's extremely critical that all 3 of these be the exact same length. Otherwise, the blades will have a wave in them and the sled will always tend to veer to the left or to the right. It's also critical that our cut be 90 degrees perpendicular exactly. Otherwise, when we tighten the blade down, it'll put a bow in the blade and cause the same problem. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut these a little long when I cut them. Then I'm going to take them over to the mill and put a finished mill on them. That ensures me that not only are we 90 degrees perpendicular, but we're also cut to the exact length. The first thing we're going to do is do the rough cut to lay out these spacers. I'm going to use something called Dykem. Dykem is a die for doing layout. And I had a little dilemma when I went over there to the cabinet and figure out which one. Should we use red or should we use blue? I use blue most of the time. So I'm thinking red today. Now here's the nice thing about Dykem. Once it dries and we use it to lay everything out, it comes off easy again. The inaugural use of my Randy Richard in the shop scribe. What we're going to do here is lay out 1 inch. So we got 1 inch marked right there. I took a square and I drew the line a little heavier. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. This is our piece we're going to keep. This is our waste piece. We're going to run a little heavy on this side of the line, try to leave 20 or 30 thousandths to take off with the mill. Not perfectly square. It's a little more than 30 thousandths, but gives us plenty to play with. We'll go over to the mill now and clean it up. I originally started off with this and I put this set of parallels here in the vise on the mill and I got them all lined up, and then I dropped this part in there, and what I tightened the vise up. What I didn't like is when I squeezed this like this, there's a lot of flex in this piece, which means it may move while I run the mill, while I cut on it, may or may not. So simple solution here was to take it back out. I got a shorter set of parallels and I dropped those down in here. What that did was drop this piece in a much further. And it's much stiffer pushing on it this way when it's not up in the air. Right here is the line. We've got the 2 flute brand new end mill. I'm going to make a first pass. I'm going to get a true edge and then see how much I need to mill off it, and we'll just mill it right to 1 inch. We've got this zeroed out. Got about 1 inch 38. So we need to take about 38 off of there. 12 thousandths off. 5 more thousandths. Exactly 1 inch. The drill bit is right on the edge of the material here. This drill bit's 1/4 of an inch wide, which is 0.250. Half of that is 0.125. So we need to move the table that way, 125. What we're going to do is start 0 to 0 at the top. We're going to move it 125 thousandths. Now if you look, the center of that drill bit is right on the edge. Now to find center, we know this is 1 inch. Half of 1 is 0.5. We need to move it 0.5 of an inch more. That'll give us a total of 0.6250. So we're going to go to 6250. .6250, and our drill bit is dead in the center. Put a drop of kerosene on the drill bit there. All right, you can see we've got the 3 holes drilled in the center. On a real quick light, deburr the holes. Okay, so we've got the holes deburred, the red dicom taken off them. Last thing I want to do is I'm going to run a file. We'll break the edge on it. I just find it a good practice to run over all the edges with a file, even though it's pretty smooth already. There you have it. We got that step done, ready to put on the sled. The next thing we need to do is make this little pick for the end of the hockey sticks. Little pick will wind up going like this. See the 2 holes? It'll go in those 2 holes and it'll provide them traction. Something that's very critical on this pick, and I guess they have a go, no-go type gauge that they use at the rink, is these teeth can be no more than 1/8 of an inch. So that's one thing we need to be absolutely critical on. I've got 2 pieces of 1/8 inch thick 3/16 steel. These are just drops from a stainless steel tank that I had made. I trimmed them off in little square pieces. Normally I would say I would take this and I would cut it out, and then I would take 3M spray adhesive, I'd stick it down there, I take it over the bandsaw and cut it out. Once I do that though, I'm gonna wind up messing up my only template that I have. So what I believe that I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut it out, put some dicom on here, lay this on and trace it out in the blue dicom, cut it out, and then I can still use this as a template to check my work. I also was thinking about it, and I think what I'm going to do is take these 2 pieces and I'm going to tack weld them together. I can then cut them out as one piece, and as I cut the tack welds off, the 2 pieces will just become separate pieces along the way. All right, got a bunch of tack welds all the way around it, ready to let it cool off, put the dicom on it, and we'll trace it out. Okay, that's our rough shape. We'll take it over to the bandsaw and we'll rough it out. We've got it shaped, and I think it came out real nice. About the only thing we didn't match exactly was this radius to that radius right there, but I really don't think it makes any difference at all. The only thing left to do before I separate them is transfer through the holes. I'd like to drill them as one piece. All right, real quick trip over the drill press and we'll get it drilled. Well, as you can see, I've Drilled a couple of holes through there. I deburred it. I ran it over to the flap wheel on the grinder and smoothed up our picks. And these picks will fit on here just like they're supposed to. So we did our 3 spacers. We made our 2 picks for the end of the hockey sticks. We'll check this off as another job done in the shop, and hopefully we'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and like us on Facebook. Please, somewhere down below here is a link. We've got a lot more really cool stuff coming. Is that right, camera guy? Is there a link down there? Send me a comment. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Click whatever link, click something. See you soon.